Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. We are going to be talking about something today that I am really noticing is become my specialty, if you will. And it is the ability to pivot. Not only am I able to pivot in my own journey, and, I was talking a couple episodes ago about how I'm kind of calming down on the snacks and going into this cut graciously and losing a couple pounds and shedding fat. And I'm doing that in a way that feels very authentic to me. It's very seamless. It's slow. It's forever. Like that is totally me. So not only am I able to do that in my own life and say, okay, what am I able to do as far as workouts? What am I able to do as far as I want to lose some fat? What am I able to do? I'm not able to just cut 500 calories off the gate because I don't freaking want to be honest. And it's not an excuse. I don't want to. I don't feel like doing it that way. And this feels a lot more authentic to me, is just kind of cutting back on certain things. So I'm really good at pivoting and looking at my life and doing an inventory of how busy I am. When am I going to fit in my workouts? How am I going to track my food? How am I still going to prioritize myself, my fitness, my nutrition, even though my life is, it looks like X, Y, and Z. So for me right now, it looks like my life is so busy right now. And I don't mean that as an excuse. I mean that as literally it's so busy. We have track meets. We have baseball game. We just remodeled our kitchen. I'm planning for a graduation. I'm planning for an open house. I don't even know what else I'm forgetting. It seems like every minute of the day, I'm thinking about something that I have to do. And that's not a complaint. It just is what it is. I'm so tired. I think I can blame that on perimenopause. And I've just never felt more exhausted. And I've never had more things to do that I don't know what I'm doing. Like my business is in one of these stages where I'm learning so many new things and it's going in so many different directions. I've never had a daughter graduate or any of my children graduate. I've never planned an open house graduation party, right? I've never sold t-shirts and sweatshirts for my business. So it's everything I'm doing, not only is there a lot of it, so many things that I'm doing, but also I don't know how to do most of them. So what I'm trying to say is this is just a very busy time in my life, but I'm not one to just let my fitness slide and not do my workouts or let my nutrition go and not track my food. I have goals physically, emotionally, mentally, and I'm not going to give up on those just because my life is busy. So I have this, I don't know, some call it a superpower, if you will, to be able to pivot and realize, okay, this is what my life looks like for this many weeks. Physically, this is where I have to be at baseball games, track meets, meetings, awards, things, whatever, right? And how can I fit in everything else? Not how can I fit in my fitness and my nutrition and then plan everything around that. No, I have to do my life thing. So how can I figure out the rest and plan around it? Right. So I am really good at pivoting. And I was on a client call last week, and I'm dealing with this with a lot of my clients too, which is why I'm bringing it up on this episode, because if a lot of my clients are dealing with this, especially my one-on-ones, because I talk to them in detail in voice messages, I hear about their life, their struggles, their kids, their things, right? We talk via voice message, we talk via one-on-one call in real time. So I really get to know them. And if a lot of them are struggling with this, I'm assuming that you are too. And I had a call with a client last week, and she mentioned something about I feel like I know these are just excuses, but I'm super busy and I'm not finding the time to get everything done. And for her, I even said yeah, people do say I'm so busy and that is an excuse at times. But for her, I knew, and I said, I know you're not making an excuse and just being lazy. You physically don't have the time to get all of this done at the stage of life that you're in right now, the stage of parenting that you're in, the stage of the job that you're in. It's a really busy season, and we can't just let that slide and say, well, this is just a really, busy season, but I also have to hit every single one of my 5 workouts, and I have to hit every single step, and I have to track every single drop of water, and I have to track every single thing I put in my mouth, and I have to do all of these things, and I have to do all my life things, and I have to do all my job things. Something's going to fall, right? It's like this balance. I get this visual, and I'm not sure. I think it was in a book that I read. I actually think it was called Balancing It All. I don't remember. It's an older book, but it had this visual of this lady with all of these plates, and she was basically juggling them. And you can do that for a while, I guess, but something's going to fall. Like one of those plates are going to fall and break. And not only are one of those plates going to fall, but usually if a juggler drops one thing, all the others come crumbling down too, right? So I always have this visual for myself of like, not everything. And even as far as balance goes, like people, I think, want to find balance. And that was a word that used to be very popular, of finding that balance in your life, of your at-home life and your work life and your fitness. Yes, you do need it to equal 100%, right, of you and your time, but it's not a balance. Most of us do work more than we are at home, right? You work 9 to 5, that leaves less hours at home than you were at work. I know for my kids at school, right? They go to school at 7:30 in the morning. They get out of school at almost 3:00. They're at practice until 5:00, 5:30. They get home for a couple hours. They're gone outside of the home more than they are home. So that's just realistic. So there's not going to be a 50-50 balance of like, oh, I spent this much time at work, so I need to spend this much time with my kids, or it's not going to be like that. Or I used to spend an hour every single day on my workouts, and now I can't do that. Like I'm finding that hard to do. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that my time is going elsewhere, and I have to find the balance of what percentage. And I don't even know if it's a balance. I guess it's a good equal, right? Like I have to find the percentage that I'm going to give of myself to other people, to my family, to my job, to myself. Like it has to equal a 100%, and it's not going to, something's going to give if I'm giving too much and it's falling apart. So I've been dealing with this, or coaching my clients through this, or hearing this a lot from my clients. I said dealing with this, and it sounded like I meant that in a bad way. And I don't, but I have been dealing with this question a lot from my clients of like, I feel like my life has changed, or this situation actually has changed in my life, and I can't figure out how to get my workouts done. And when this comes from a one-on-one client, it's either in the beginning of our relationship working together. I do have even one client that I just started working with recently, and she's like, my life has never looked like this before. My job is different, and it's a lot of hours, but she doesn't have any kids. She doesn't have a husband or a significant other right now. So, she's just like, help me figure out how to incorporate this in my life right now before, going forward. And then I have other clients that have worked with me for months, and they do have a significant other. They do have kids. Maybe some of them even don't have a job outside the home. Maybe they're stay-at-home moms. But they're still like, this is new to me. Like I've never been a stay-at-home mom, and I can't figure out how to organize my time. I'm spending too much time on maybe myself and my fitness and my health, and it's becoming an obsession. And I don't like that. I want to be able to, go volunteer, or I do have to find a job again, and I don't know how that's going to look. Or, it can be so many different things. It either clients come to me, they'll right off the gate saying, this is why I hired you. I hired you because I've gone through this life transition, and I need to figure out how to fit fitness into my life, like what that looks like. Or, like I said, they've come to me, they've worked with me for a couple months, and then they go through something, or something changes, and they're like, this current situation isn't working anymore, Christy. I'm going to need your help. I need different workouts. I'm falling apart. I'm falling off track constantly. Help me get it together. And they kind of freak out. And I'm like, it's okay. That's part of the process. And what I've learned from working with these one-on-one clients through this is like, I love this part. And I will say, like, this is actually something I'm really good at. I light up. I had a client last week say to me, like, I think this is why you're so good at this, because you really helped me narrow down, like, first of all, I helped this particular client feel like she wasn't making excuses. I validated her. And that's not something that I like learned or anything. I know she wasn't making excuses. And I'm like, that's not an excuse. You don't have the time, but here's what we're going to do. You don't have time to get to the gym 5 days a week. So I'm going to give you 2 or 3 workouts to do a week. I'm going to plan them in a way that they're full body. They're very well executed. They're very time efficient. You're going to get them done. We're going to up your steps on the other days. So your movement's going to be more so. We're going to track that in the way that she likes to track that. And then we're also going to be more specifically focused on only eating when her hunger strikes. So yes, we still want to prioritize protein and we want to prioritize macros, but we're going to bring it down a little bit. Kind of like I was talking about a couple episodes ago as far as myself, right? I'm going to up my movement, increase my calorie output, and decrease my calorie input so that the distance is greater between the two, I guess, right? So we want to bring in less calories for her, and we want to expend a little bit more via walking and other ways of movement, because we're not expending so many calories with her via workouts right now because we're doing less. So essentially, we're taking away some workouts, taking away some calorie burn that way. But workouts don't burn a lot of calories anyways. They shouldn't. Most of your calorie burn throughout the day is from other activities, right? Even right now, I'm standing recording this podcast. I'm standing for one. So that's working me a little bit more than if I was sitting. I'm waving my arm all around. And, this is taking energy to do this. So your job also takes energy. We're going to take the stairs. We're going to park a little further out. We're going to do everything we can. If we're talking on the phone at work, we're going to get her up and walk around our office if we can. Every single chance we get to take more steps, we're going to do that. And that's what we're going to do with her, is increase that movement throughout the day. And that alone will cause her to burn more calories than honestly she would in that workout. Her workouts are more designed, and yours should be too, for muscle gain and for shaping your body. But enough of that particular client's, situation. What I'm trying to say is we pivoted for her. We gave her less workouts so she feels like she can get them done. She was still setting herself up for failure by saying, I can still work out 5 days a week. Like, this is a new week. I'm going to do it this week. And then she would fail. She would do 2 or 3. And then the next week she'd say, I'm going to do 5 workouts this week. I got this, right? New week, new me, can do this. And it's like, you still don't have more time. Nothing changed except that you said that to yourself. Let's stop lying to ourselves and just say, I'm going to get in 2 to 3 workouts because that's consistently what I've done for the last few weeks. Christy's going to make them better for me, so I know that they're effective. So if she knows they're effective, she's like, I did it again, 2 workouts, done, right? She did it. So she feels motivated. She feels confident. She feels like she did what she said she was going to do. She set herself up for success. We set herself up for success. We're bringing in a couple less calories by only eating when she's hungry. I want her to focus on protein, and I want her to only eat when she's hungry. So when those hunger cues strike, like, are you eating because I have to hit my macros? Are you eating because it's lunchtime? Are you eating because, well, I plan to have the shake today, or I plan to have this yogurt today? If you are not hungry and you eat something, that is essentially kind of saying like, well, screw you, body, kind of take care of this anyway. Your body is very, very smart. And yes, we do need macros, and that can probably be another episode. But especially when your movement is less and your stress is more, and you, right, have this situation. And also, especially when you're working with someone like me, a coach who actually cares, and I can say, hey, this is the minimum amount of calories I want for you per day. This is the minimum amount of protein I want for you per day. But also listen to your body. If you're doing less workouts, you probably won't be as hungry for a while, and it's okay. You don't have to shove your face full of food all day long. When you get hungry, notice it. Am I actually hungry? Yes, I am. My stomach's growling. I actually feel hungry. Okay, what has protein? What's something good? what am I in the mood for, right? What's going to get me towards my goals? Eat that. And so just paying attention is something huge that you can do for your body when you're in this state of pivoting. So those are just a couple of things that I do when I'm pivoting, right? And for my clients. But essentially what it comes down to is you're going to have to do this audit. And I have talked about this on previous episodes before. It's like, I'm like beating a dead horse with this, but it's something that I'm really passionate about because learning to pivot, learning to audit in so many different stages of your life. Honestly, we could probably pivot and do an audit of our life and where our time is going and our health and fitness journey and our macros and our workouts. We could probably do this every couple of months because it doesn't take like a big life event or a big change to need to do something different. It can be like the start of a different sports teams or season for your kids. It can look like the games being a lot later at night than they used to. For example, my daughter is a senior, so I'm kind of used to her schedule as far as sports. My son playing varsity sports this year compared to 8th grade sports last year, they're a lot longer as far as the game itself. The practices are a lot longer and harder. The time it takes to get somewhere is a lot longer. They're later at night. So I'm used to my kids having sports. I could very easily say to myself, Christy, you've had 2 children for now, 18 years. You've had 2 kids. Like, what is your problem? They've always been in sports. What is your problem? Like, you did this last year and it was easier. Why is it so hard this year? But when I really look at it, right, I do this audit, like, oh, this is why it looks different. We're dealing with my daughter graduating. So I have all these emotions and these feelings and this planning that I'm doing, preparing myself for that. Also, why does it look different? Because my son's on varsity teams versus 8th grade teams last year. So the games are longer. They're further away. There's a shit ton more of them. And they're later in the evenings. I'm not getting home until super late. By the time we get stuff put away, by the time we eat some food, by the time I'm ready for bed, right? It's late. So that's why I don't have the energy or I haven't slept enough to get up in the morning. It's not just like I've done this, for the last few years. What is my problem? And I'm mad at myself and I'm, frustrated. It's like I'm taking a look at, is it an excuse that I can't get up in the morning? Or is there an actual reason behind it? And when I looked at it, like there is an actual reason behind it. So let's pivot and figure out, when are you going to get your workouts in? What does your food look like? What kind of snacks do you need to take with you? What do you need to eat earlier in the day so that you don't have to eat so late? What does this look like? And for a lot of us, to kind of bring this home, for a lot of us, and this, I say us because I used to do this back in the day, back in maybe my Beachbody days, or back in any program day where I thought I had to be perfect. If you think you have to be perfect, if you think, especially if a diet, quote unquote, has worked for you in the past. So, okay, let's say a diet has worked for you in the past. And, let's say recently you're like, man, I really need to lose some weight. Like I need to kick it into gear. We need to get serious. I know this diet worked 10 years ago. I'm going to try it again. So you try it again and the diet doesn't work. And you're like, why am I not able to stick to this, right? Like last time it worked, I'm not able to stick to it this time. It's because you're different. It's because your body's different. It's because your lifestyle is different. So it's not that the diet doesn't work. They do, because you essentially eat less. And so diets usually work for a certain amount of time. But if something's not fitting into your life, it's usually not like that it's your fault. It's that you've chosen the wrong thing to do. So if you've chosen something to do where you're like, okay, this is an 8-week program. And I just talked about this in an episode 2, where why do we do things that we can't do long-term, right? Why do we do this? This is why it's important to not sign up for something long-term in the sense of cutting out carbs, cutting out fats, cutting out calories, working out every single day, turning in something to a trainer where they have a certain amount of calories for you every single day and you can't mess it up. Every single week you have to check in. Like if something is so structured and it works for 8 weeks, that's fine. I guess I don't really want that for myself, but what makes you think that if you can do that, if you can barely do that, honestly, for 8 weeks, right? And it's annoying. What makes you think that when your life gets hard and when your life gets busier and you're out of control in your mind, that you're going to be able to keep doing those things? You won't. That's why those programs don't work, because doesn't allow you the ability to pivot and figure out, what does my life look like? How can I fit health and fitness into it? How can I modify this program? I'm good at that on my own, but I'm a personal trainer and I've been doing this for 15 years. So I don't expect you to be good at it. I expect you to come to me and ask me for help, right? That's what my clients do. But that's why those things don't work. It's because it doesn't allow you any grace. It doesn't allow you to plan your own time. You have 100% of yourself to give to things. And when most of it's going to your health and fitness and you are stressed out about it, it gives you no room to pivot, to change, right? If you have to hit your macros every day and you have to check in with the coach, if you have to hit 5 workouts a week and you have to progressive overload and you have to check in with your coach and you have to send pictures and you have to weigh in and all these things. I have had clients come to me and they're like, I know I signed up for this and I know I have to be perfect with you. And I'm like, no, you don't. That's not the kind of coach that I am. I listen to my clients and I ask them, what do you do for work? How many hours do you work? What does your family life look like? What does your life outside of this look like? Do you even like to lift weights? If you don't like it, then yeah, I want you to lift weights 2 days a week. I'm going to make those workouts really, really freaking good. You're going to lift heavy. You're going to enjoy it. But the other days, you're going to go for a bike ride. You're going to go swim. You're going to go for a walk. You're going to go for a run or whatever you like to do. I'm not going to change who you are and make you do things that you don't like to do. I'm going to take who you are and what your life is and weave fitness into it. And as we grow and as we age and as our life changes, you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to audit and say, what do I like right now? What kind of workouts are good for me, right? Like, what am I enjoying? I put on my stories the other day that on occasion, I'm enjoying lifting heavy. And that's always my intent, is to kind of go out in my garage gym and lift heavy because I really like it. And that's what I want to do. I want to build muscle. I want to maintain my muscle. I want to build more muscle. In order to do that, I have to lift heavy. But recently I put on my stories that I cannot be bothered to lift heavy. My body's not responding well. It's making my back hurt. And I at first was saying like, it's making your back hurt, you freaking baby. Like, you'll be fine. Go stretch some more. Take an Epsom salt bath. Like, do what you got to do. Figure it out. And then finally I was like, no, like, why does my back hurt? I'm not eating enough right now, probably to fuel those heavy ass workouts. So let's chill out, right? Let's do an audit on that. Like, how am I feeling like I want to move? What feels good to me right now? So I've been practicing my pistol squat, practicing my dragon pistol squat, which I did so well at one day, and then I haven't been able to hit it. It's so frustrating. I've been stretching. I've been doing a little bit of like yoga moves. And then I've been doing my workout and figuring out what feels good. I'm doing in my own life what I'm telling you to do. That's why I'm so good at it, because I'm not just pulling things out of my ass and telling you to do them in your own journey. I'm living what I'm telling you to do. I've been doing this for 15 years for myself. Imagine, my son was 6 months when I started. He's almost 16, which is crazy. Imagine the changes that I've gone through. My workouts and my food intake do not look like they did in the very beginning. And that's the problem. When for a lot of you that start out, you're like, this is my new life. I'm low fat forever. I'm low carb forever. I'm X, Y, and Z forever, right? I'm CrossFit. I'm going to this gym. I'm running every single day for 6 miles, or I'm hitting 15,000 steps every single day, no matter what. It's leaving no room for error. It's leaving no room for life. It's leaving no room for, what if I don't feel like doing this anymore? What if this doesn't work for me? What if I don't like this? That's fine. If you don't like it, change it. So the ability to pivot in your fitness journey is so important. Macros are important. Workouts are important. Your water intake is important. Your step intake is important. Your mental health is important. There's so many things that are important in this journey. But one of the most important things, one of the most important skills you can have is, number one, not quitting. We've talked about this in a previous episode way back, but I think it was called the number one reason you fail at your journey or something like that. It's because you keep quitting. And in order to not quit, you have to learn to pivot. In order to not quit, you have to learn to pivot. Otherwise, everything seems like or I'm making an excuse, or I can't do this, or this isn't for me, or I've tried and I'm no good at this, or I suck at this, or this program is a joke. This trainer is a joke, right? I hired this trainer. She sucked so bad. It didn't work for me. No, it's because that was the wrong program for you at the time. It's because you didn't take an audit of your life. It's because you quit when you should have just pivoted. That's why. So takeaways from this are you have to learn to pivot. Your life won't look the same forever. Or honestly, I'm finding that life doesn't look the same for very long at all. So just count on pivoting a lot. That needs to be a very welcomed part of your journey, sitting down with a nice little notebook and a nice little pen and writing, what does my life look like right now? What is my daily schedule? Write down all the shit that you do in a day and you'll be like, oh, that's why I can't fit in my workouts, right? But I want to. So can I get rid of any of these things on my list? Or do I need to wake up earlier? Or do I need to just walk more? Maybe less physical, lifting workouts. And for how long? Because it's only going to be a couple more weeks or a couple more months until your life will pivot again. And then you'll have more time and you'll have more energy and things will look different. This season for me, while it's insane, after track season's over, after school baseball season's over, after graduation, after my daughter's open house, after school is out for the summer, my life looks completely different. I'm not saying it's going to be easier or I'm going to have all this time to work out. I think a lot of people think that, right? After this vacation, I'll have all this time. After this project at work is done, I'll have all this time. And that's bullshit. So stop saying that. After X, Y, and Z is over, I'll have to pivot again and figure it out again. And it might look a little bit better for me. I hope. You can say that, but chances are it's still going to be really hard. It's never going to be easy constantly to get this stuff done. You have to be able to pivot. And also note that your starting place is so important in this too. Take where you're at. Don't compare yourself to somebody else. Don't even compare yourself to what I'm saying for myself and what I'm telling my clients to do. Your journey is different. So your starting place should look different. And where you pivot to is going to look different. That's also important. The ability to pivot is super freaking important. And that's the goal of this episode. But your ability to take things in stride and also say, okay, just because someone else is doing it this way doesn't mean that that's going to work for me. I have to make this journey as personalized to me as possible. And that's how it's going to work. So, friends, thank you for listening to this episode. Please, please, please get out that beautiful journal that I talked about and that beautiful little cute little pen and honestly take an inventory of your life or of your time. I guess I'm not making this into like a big therapy session, things like that, but take an inventory of your life, of your job, of your time. What are you doing and when? And how can we fit health and fitness into it? Because at the end of the day, if it's not a priority to you, you won't do it. And if that's okay with you, that's okay with you. But I know if you're my person, it is important to you and you do want to do all the things. You want to do the things that matter. And so that's one way to really, really make it count. So I want you to get out that notebook and the pen, and I want you to take an audit. And the next thing I want you to do is share this episode on your stories, tag me, and share it with a friend, because this is one of the most important parts of your fitness journey. And it's an overlooked topic. It's something that doesn't get talked about enough, right? We always talk about never miss a Monday and consistency and like all those things are great, but without your ability to pivot, you're never going to be able to stay on track with all those little things. So thank you for being here. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.